we say it all the time, authenticity wins. Authenticity wins always. First and foremost, that is what we are about more than anything is authenticity. So I'm not necessarily encouraging everyone to get out there and start a podcast to share your trauma,
right?
But giving yourself permission to accept yourself and the trauma.
Exactly.
Or accept yourself and the change, and accept yourself and the fact that you're an addict, or that you're an alcoholic, or that you are codependent and you're anxious and depressed. Accepting that, but not accepting it as a permanent thing.
Right.
This stuff can be changed, and you can
You're
also flip it and make it a
it.
positive.
Yes.
Just like we've done.
Yeah.
Welcome, beautiful people, and thank you for joining us on Till the Wheels Fall Off, a podcast by Two Faux Couple. I'm Matt.
And I'm Paige.
And we're here to inspire others, to bring you guys into our lives and tell you a little bit about our journey. Over 20 years together, we've learned a few things.
We're going to work toward being the best version of yourself possible. We're going to dig into building a positive mindset, discuss mental health, addiction recovery, improving fitness, building businesses, and insight into what it takes to navigate life today.
Welcome back. And welcome to all of our new listeners and followers. The past couple of episodes have, I guess, kind of been a jumping off point for us. We've seen a huge influx of new people. We've seen tons of new listeners. We've seen interactions and DMs from people that we don't know. And you guys have told us some of the most heartfelt stories about what you're going through. And you reached out to us. And I just can't thank you enough for the support that you've given us, and for opening up to us about your lives. I think that when we started this thing, we kind of decided if we could just help one person, then it would be worth it, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And now we've got dozens and dozens of people that have reached out, and it's like, I'm going through the same thing, and listening to that gave me hope.
Right.
And that just gives me goosebumps every time I hear it. Like if you've gotten a DM back from either of us, and we're pretty good about going through these in comments and whatnot, if you've gotten anything back and it was to the effect of like, thank you, we meant it, like heartfelt thank you to everybody that has reached out to us and told us that they got something from it. I just think it's so cool, because as we were living this, I certainly sure as hell didn't think this is going to make a great story one day.
No.
This will make a sick podcast.
Yeah.
It was like my lives are falling apart and we just don't know what to do. We're completely broken. We're shattered. What the hell next?
Mm-hmm.
That's what our episode's about today. It's about after the dust settled, and as we're sitting there kind of looking at each other from across the room thinking, what the F do we do now?
Yeah.
Like every fantasy we had and every plan and every dream is busted. This was not part of the deal, but this is reality. What do we do? And we were kind of left with a decision. We either kind of hid it from the world and sort of just carried on, I guess, or let's just own this thing.
Yeah.
And let's just be authentic about it. And man, it was told to me pretty simply by someone else much wiser than me. They said, when it comes to your life and the changes you make, decisions you make, those that matter don't mind. Those that mind don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it was incredibly powerful because it's true.
Dr. Seuss?
Was it Dr. Seuss?
I don't know.
There's no way that was Dr. Seuss. It's a doctor, but it wasn't a Seuss, I'm pretty sure. But the people in your life that truly love you, that care about you, that want to see you win, aren't going to care. They're not going to care. They're going to support you. The people that don't really care, they're not involved in your lives. If they got opinions about it, so what, man? So what? So after the dust settled, we kind of made the decision, all right, let's own this thing and let's see where it goes. So this week we're going to be discussing identity and personality, because I think it's safe to say that our identity was completely blown up after this.
Yeah.
And even now, like after the podcast and everything else, people who didn't really know us or know our story, this is now us.
Yeah.
This is our identity.
Right.
So we're kind of living this in the moment, even though we lived it, years and years and years ago. But check this out. I found this definition online. I thought it was insane. The word personality stems from the Latin word persona, which refers to a theatrical mask worn by performers to play roles or disguise their identities. In the ancient world, a persona was a mask worn by an actor. We are the Maskless Podcast. That's what Two Flow Couple's about. It's about authenticity, and our logos are skulls because skulls can't wear masks. They have no skin. They have no face. It's truly us at our core. So I think it's fitting this week that we're talking about identity and personality. Now, when it comes to us, you guys have heard for the past couple of weeks what our story was, how it unfolded, what got us into addiction, how we got out of it, and codependency, and then being able to look at the world in the eyes and say, this is us. This is us for better or for worse. This is us. What's interesting, though, is that we weren't always that way. So we've already proven that personality, is in fact a mask, which means that we can change it. It's malleable. It's fluid. So when I think about other parts of my personality and what I'd like to change, it doesn't seem so impossible. Because it's easy to say that I'm not very social. I don't talk to people.
Right.
Or I'm anxious. I get anxious a lot. Or what are some other ones that you had? You were talking about it in the show notes page. You were like, I can't speak in front of people, or something to that effect.
Yeah, like public speaking. I don't, but I always want to do that. Or I'm an introvert.
That's it. Yeah, I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert, man. I'm just an introvert. Every time that we say these things about ourselves, we're reinforcing this sense of identity. We've got our authentic self, and then there's what's called the adaptive self. So the authentic self lives inside of us along with the adaptive self. Think of these like the cartoons from back in the day where you've got your conscience, you've got the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. Think about your different selves on each shoulder. Not good or bad, though. One's not an angel, one's not a devil. They're just non-judgmental. They're just there.
Right.
The adaptive self, these are the things that we learn through life on how to fit in our families, in our homes first growing up, and then in our schools, in our friend circles, in the states that we live in the cities that we're from. These things kind of come to define us. And sometimes they come into conflict with our authentic selves, the things that we truly value, the things that when we look at our core, it's like, what do I really value in this life? What am I really about? Sometimes the adaptive self can get so far out of skew, though, we lose touch with our authentic self. When we lose touch with our authentic selves, we often feel lonely, unsupported, and we feel lost, just completely lost. Like you've lost your sense of self because you're trying to be someone else all the time. Now, I get this because I remember my first therapy session ever, which was back in probably 2013. Within a few moments, my therapist was scratching down notes. I'm looking over there at their notes, like looking like, what are you writing down? And they told me I was a chameleon. You remember this?
Yes.
You were in it. It was a couples session. That was a hoot. That was a fun one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was still in treatment at the time, but I was a chameleon. And I'm like, what does that mean? Well, if anyone who knows what a chameleon does, it doesn't take too hard to jump to figure out what this means in psychology, but it's someone that changes their skin to fit the situation.
Yes.
I would change my identity, my personality all the time.
Depending on the person.
Depending on the person, the situation, to fit in. That was my goal, was to fit in. And the reason I wanted to fit in is because I feared rejection.
Yes.
If you knew who I really was, you wouldn't want anything to do with me. And the worst thing that could ever happen to me was rejection. So I protected that by being a chameleon. But when you're a chameleon, you lie so much and you pretend so much, you lose yourself.
You lose yourself. That's exactly what I was
So when
gonna
I
say.
got sober, I remember the question, who the hell am I? Who am I? Luckily, we've been together since we were 14 years old. So I'm in my late 20s by the time all this is going on. And I sort of had you were like a lighthouse. I could always look back there and get a sense of my direction because you knew me before all this.
Right.
You could remind me who I was and what I was, and help me remember the guy that you fell in love with and why you fell in love with me.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really hard finding my true self again, because I felt immediately like, but people aren't going to like me. They're not going to like this guy. I'm not sure this isn't what I planned. I didn't curate this for the world. It's not ready to show anybody yet. And it's scary as hell.
Yeah.
It's so scary to show the world your true self. But the first thing that I did was give myself permission. I had to give myself permission to change. It's okay just to be yourself. It's okay. When I got sober, I swore to everything that I was willing to go to any length. And this was one of them. It's the willingness to look at yourself and the pieces of your personality that are working against you, not working in your favor. And then look at those that do work in your favor and working toward improving my personality. They say the most difficult thing about recovery is that you have to change everything about yourself. Like, people will say that sarcastically all the time. Like, it's no big deal. You just have to change everything about yourself. You have to change your people, places, things, the way you respond. No big deal.
Yeah.
It's a little much. But we talk a lot about authenticity here. And we also talk a lot about balance. So as we're talking about the adaptive self and the authentic self, for all you black and white thinkers out there, don't get it twisted. That doesn't mean that you're either all authentic or all adaptive.
Right.
It's about balance.
Yes. Finding that middle ground.
Right. So as I was exploring like my core values and what I truly believe in, I believe in authenticity, but I also believe in balance.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a time when your authentic self may be best served by your adaptive self. At the dinner table on Thanksgiving, I guess, with your family, just because Uncle Alvin is over there going off about politics doesn't mean that you need to lose your mind.
Right.
Adaptive self takes over. Just keep your head down, get in your lane, finish up this turkey and dressing. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So there is a balance for it.
Absolutely.
But after the dust settled on us, like, we knew we were broken. We knew we were different. We knew that this wasn't going to wash off. But how were we going to own it? And what would our personalities look like in the end? With our story, like, as much as I'd like to talk about our story, I don't want people tuning in every week to just hear about this story of addiction and codependency and like us. I want to make this about something bigger than us and how this could apply to help other people. So I think about something like anxiety or depression, which is more common than it's ever been. Mm-hmm. And part of it's just because people are finally being okay with saying, like, I have depression.
Right.
Or I have anxiety disorder. And it's like these things that have been going on forever are just now talked about. And I think that's good. I think that the awareness about these things is good.
Right.
But you have overcome anxiety and depression. And it's through changes in personality that you achieve this, right?
Right. Changes in personality and behavior, of course.
So when you look at your personality and like the different parts that make it up, speaking about you, because I think this is really relatable for a lot of listeners, when you looked at your personality 10, 12 years ago, what are some things that you look back on now and you could identify as shortcomings, I guess, defects of character, things that weren't
things
serving
that held
you?
me back, basically?
Yeah.
Okay. Just being like socially awkward with people. I'm still socially awkward with people.
You think you are, but you're really not.
Right. But that's what I mean. I don't let it hold me back. I'm more at a place where it's like, I don't want to be socially awkward. I want to actually be, like you and speak with people at an intelligent level, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
So what do I do to change that? I put myself in these uncomfortable situations. I get out of my comfort zone to change my personality, like all these little defects, I guess you could say, the things that just hold me back. Just no different than anxiety. I didn't want to be anxious. I didn't want it to define me. I didn't want it to be like, oh, I'm just anxious, so I can't go there. I can't go to the grocery store because I have anxiety. I might have a panic attack. No, I got out of my comfort zone
to deal with it, and then it got better. It changed.
So you forced change.
I forced change because I wanted it. I didn't want to rely on medication. I didn't want to rely on that just being a part of my identity.
So what looks different now when you look at your personality and your identity? Do you still say to yourself, I'm socially awkward, I'm inept, I'm all these things that you tell yourself? Is that still part of it?
Sometimes I do, but most of the time I change it. I switch it because I don't think it's necessarily true. So I switch that and I say, no, I'm okay. I'm a pretty cool person. People can talk to me. I'm all right.
I think affirmations are really important. Positive affirmations.
Yeah, even if I don't feel it necessarily, because those feelings still come back. I still change the way I speak to myself.
The subconscious mind will take what you tell it and plug it in deep, and it becomes almost part of your identity and your personality. So if you're constantly saying to yourself, I'm a loser, or I'm overweight, or I'm depressed, or I'm anxious, or I'm bad in public, all these things we tell ourselves, they become part of our identity and our personality. Mm-hmm. And as humans, we're very selfish creatures. We just are. If you think that's not true, just look at your 5-year-old for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
The most selfish creature in the world is a 5-year-old. They don't care about anything but themselves. But we are selfish and we don't want to change. We don't want to change anything else. It's mine. I'm holding on to it, good or bad. It's mine. I don't want to let it go.
Yeah.
If we turn the script and we start to talk about the positive things we want to see changing,
yes,
you'll start to see positive change.
Yes. It's the first step.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
You have to acknowledge that that's your defect, right? Like you need to see it for what it is, but then you switch it.
So a lot of us go through changes that aren't just like what we went through. It wasn't just addiction or depression or whatever. For some other people, it's tough. It's divorce or it's abuse. It's major life pivots. Have you changed a career? Have you decided to live off the grid and just go for broke and live your dream, whatever that may look like? But every time we do something like this, we're not just making a decision to change the way we live. We're changing our identity. We're changing our personality. So when I think about personality being a mask we wear, like we had a conversation before dinner, or not before dinner, before the podcast started. My son essentially called me out for being unsupportive of him when he's emotional about things. And Paige let me know about this because I wasn't in the room when he talked about it. And she's like, I'm not telling you this to like put you on blast, but it hurt to hear. But what did I say? I'm going to start tomorrow. Be different.
Right.
I'm going to put on a different mask in the morning. And whenever he needs me, whenever he's a highly emotional kid, but whenever, you know what, there's a way to respond to it that's correct. And there's a way that's not working. And that's the way that I choose to handle it now. Mm-hmm. So something's got to change. So I'm not going to drift into, remorse over it. I'm just going to be better. I'm going to be better tomorrow. Make a decision to be better tomorrow.
And you're going to practice.
I'm a patient father. I can do this.
Right.
I will be.
Right.
Yeah. And I need another piece of this thing is accountability. You're going to have to call me out, which we will get to later. But no matter what you're going through, so whether it's overcoming addiction or if it's depression or if it's a huge life change, your identity has gone through a shell shock. Mm-hmm. And so what do you do? How do you handle it? How do you grow into this new identity? We say it all the time, authenticity wins. Authenticity wins always. First and foremost, that is what we are about more than anything is authenticity. So I'm not necessarily encouraging everyone to get out there and start a podcast to share your trauma,
right?
But giving yourself permission to accept yourself and the trauma.
Exactly.
Accept yourself and the change, and accept yourself and the fact that you're an addict or that you're an alcoholic or that you are codependent and you're anxious and depressed. Accepting that, but not accepting it as a permanent thing.
Right.
This stuff can be changed, and you can also flip it and make it a positive.
Yes.
Just like we've done.
Yeah.
I know people in the program that choose not to talk about this stuff with anyone, and I respect that. I understand totally. Mm-hmm. For me, I just couldn't see any other way than to make this a beacon of hope for others.
Yeah.
To make this something that people could look at and say, man, it can be actually kind of cool. Like being sober could be a good thing. It could be awesome.
Right.
I could, when you first get sober, you think, okay, I'm never going to have fun again. Like ever. I'm never going to laugh again. Vacations from now on are going to suck. Mm-hmm. Like sex will be boring. Like all these things cross your mind.
Dang.
And none of them were true.
Right.
None of them were true. It's crap I told myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these fears I had. I had to look the world in the eyes and say, okay, man, this is me. Better or for worse. Like standing, you feel naked when you're doing it. But we owned it and we came correct with it. And you can't just own it without expecting some scrutiny.
Yeah.
Some scrutiny. Not everyone is going to be proud of you. Not everyone's going to love your journey. Not everyone's going to be okay with it. And I'm okay with that. Like,
Yep.
I've come to terms with that. And what is it that I always say? That it's none of my business what other people think about me?
Yep. I love that.
Like, I'm not for everybody. And it's none of my business what other people think about me.
Right.
I'm fine with that. I can stay in my own lane, just be me. If you don't like me, okay, that's okay with me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to be liked by everybody anymore. I'm totally okay with that. I don't have a lot of enemies either, so I think most do. I think most people like me, but I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily care.
Like, you don't care anymore. That's what's great.
No, but if this is hard to relate to, just think about some in simpler terms. When you got married, when you had kids, when you got your first big girl or big boy job, you have this identity that kind of comes along with that. Like, I remember the first time, like our daughter's name is Sydney. When Paige was pregnant, we announced it, and I came in the office the following day, and this guy that worked for us at the time, he was like, "Hey, look, there goes Sydney's dad." I remember it like floored me. I'm like, "Oh, holy shit!" Like,
You're someone's dad.
It was the first time it occurred to me that was going to be part of my identity, and it was kind of shocking. And I was like, "Whoa, how do you handle that? How do you take that?" And taking it slow and just kind of being like, "Okay, like, what does that mean?" You know?
Yeah.
It was really, really tough. So we talked about different ways that we can change our personality, some ways that we have worked through to change our personality and be more authentic. So we've got 4 ways that we can be more authentic, develop authenticity, and 4 ways that you can change your personality starting tomorrow. So Paige, you want to go through these? The authenticity?
Yeah.
You've got it right there.
I do.
Yeah. We're prepared here on 2-4.
We're being authentic. This is how we roll.
Okay, I'll wing it.
Start.
Then.
You
Okay,
start.
fine.
You start.
So, as far as authenticity is concerned, identifying discrepancies between your actions and your beliefs. Your actions and your beliefs. Do you say things just to say them, or do you really mean that? Are you saying things just to fit in, or do you really mean that stuff? So for me, I think back to before I got sober. So I'm a very, very spiritual person now. I meditate, I pray, I sit still in the world, I practice mindfulness and presence. And I remember I used to always say that stuff's for the weak. And addicts are weak. People who get addicted to stuff, they're just weak people. I remember saying that stuff, but it wasn't just because it floored my ass and kicked my ass that I changed my mind on this. I remember even I was saying those things. They felt kind of icky. They felt just icky. It just didn't feel like me.
Right.
I was just saying them because that's the way me and my friends talked. I didn't really feel that way about things. So identifying discrepancy between my actions and my beliefs. Another one is identify fears and develop the courage to face them. For me, it was rejection. That was a big one. So to become more authentic, I had to identify what was standing in between me and authenticity.
Yeah.
And for most people that go through this, you'll find that it's fear, some sort of fear.
Yeah, for sure.
Fear that I'm going to lose something I have, fear that I'm not going to get something I want, or this general fear of just rejection. The other one I guess we both worked through this one, was exploring our values. It's number 3, exploring our values. What are your core values?
Yeah.
What do you believe at your heart, in your gut? What do you believe in? That's your authentic self. It's usually the quiet voice. It's the one that goes against the grain.
Yep.
And listening for that still quiet voice will lead you in the direction. And then the last one we have is release patterns and beliefs that no longer serve you. So we worked through the first 3 things. We're kind of identifying and looking for the discrepancies and what we're really about. And then it's about releasing the patterns and beliefs that no longer serve us. So I choose not to be that person anymore. I choose to be more authentic.
Right.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
It's a choice, though.
Yep.
That's the thing. It's a choice.
It's a
There
choice.
is intention here, and it is a choice. So we've got personality now, ways to change your personality.
Just so y'all know, he had the list. I did not.
You didn't have the list?
No.
Okay, let me see here. I'm going through this while you're going through that. I'm going to prove you wrong.
But it was right here.
Oh, you're right. You don't have the list. I stand corrected. My fault. Go ahead. Sorry.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're correct.
Oh, are you being sarcastic?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay, so we're going on the ways to change your personality,
Yes.
right? Okay. So identify the parts of your personality that hold you back. What?
What?
Your handwriting sucks.
Give me that. I'll carry this thing. All right. Oh, my God.
This is...
It's late, y'all. It's late.
I can't read your handwriting. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
These are ways to change the mask. This is how you change your mask. Like tomorrow morning, I'm changing my mask from a non-understanding, impatient parent to a patient one.
That's
So
awesome. I love
The first
that.
thing I'm going to do is identify the parts of my personality that hold me back.
Yeah.
Number one, I'm impatient.
You
I'm
think?
just impatient. I'm impatient and I'm distracted all the time.
Yeah.
So I will remove distractions, essentially my phone, and I will be present when he's around.
Oh.
Those are the two parts of my personality that are holding me back from making this change.
And that takes intention. So
it does
let's-
take intention.
Right. Yeah.
Then I'm going to give myself permission to change the things that hold me back. So identifying them is the first thing. And I kind of do these as one step.
Yeah.
And then give myself permission to change them. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm not going to miss out on a message that just was urgent. I'm not going to... My family is my priority.
Right.
I need to be present. It's okay. I need to give myself permission to let those things go. The fear of missing out is not more important than my son knowing that he's supported when he's upset.
Yeah.
So it has depth and weight. Now, the next thing is I will need accountability. Anytime we make a change of our personality, well, she's over here holding her hand. We will need accountability.
I will gladly
So
be
this
your
can be your
accountability
partner, this can be a friend, this can be a therapist or a coach or a mentor or a sponsor. If you're working a 12-step program, this person holds you accountable to a degree.
Yeah.
So as I go through this and I'm changing and I've made it clear my intentions to change, it's not just magically going to happen. It's going to take some grinding. There's going to be rust. It's not going to be perfect at first.
Yes.
I will try to do it and I will fail and she will remind me when I do. And I'm not going to be a jerk about it either.
No.
I'm not going to get offended or get my feelings hurt when she's like, hey, he's upset. He just came to you. You just did it again. I go, damn it. I got to get better.
Right.
I
And
gotta
I'm
get
not
better.
doing it to criticize you. I'm literally just bringing it to your attention.
Yeah. And I've asked for the accountability.
Yes.
I've got to get, if
so
you're
you
serious.
can't get mad at accountability partners when they're actually trying to hold you
No,
accountable.
they're going to deliver truth bomb after truth bomb,
Yeah.
dude. Get ready to take it. You better
Yeah.
have a helmet on. Get ready. So I'm ready. Call me out. Let me know. And I will humbly accept criticism.
Yeah.
It's another piece of this thing.
Yes.
Another piece of this thing, and this is sort of related to, not so much related to mine right here that we're talking about, but in general, when I think back to when I changed my personality and you changed yours, make telling the truth a habit.
Yes.
And listen for inner guidance. Make telling the truth a habit.
Yep.
I lied about everything back in the day. When I was a chameleon, I would just make shit up, like, not for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, for no reason. Someone would ask me, oh, have you seen this movie? I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
I've never seen
Sure.
that, man. I just didn't want to be awkward in the conversation. I wanted to be agreeable. I wanted people to like me. Like, no, I've never seen this random movie you're talking about, but just give me the gist.
Yeah.
That's an acceptable answer.
Just like it's okay to say, I don't know, if somebody asks you a question, when a lot of people will just lie and say something that they think is right.
It's like, oh, hey, remember, you know Carl, right? I'm looking at him like, no, I don't know Carl. I have no clue. But I used to be agreeable and just admit, I'll just admit it. I'm just tell the truth all the time. For better or for worse, I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
And listening for inner guidance. And so we talked about inner guidance a little bit, but inner guidance for me is that still small, quiet voice. It's almost the one that wants me to do the hard thing all the time. Mm-hmm. It gets louder the more you listen to it. And we meditate, and meditation really helps you hone in on that voice. It gets louder.
Yep.
as you recognize it. But listening to that inner guidance, listening to that voice truly helps develop authenticity and change these things in your personality. So I think that's all we've got for tonight.
Yeah.
I've got some stuff here about authenticity, but I think we've about covered it. I think we'll put some of this stuff up on the blog and on Instagram as well.
Yes.
We'll save some for those that would like to read this. Where are we at with the YouTube channel?
It should be out this week, I'm hoping.
We're going to have it out this week?
I hope so.
So
Fingers
maybe
crossed.
by Thursday or
It's
Friday.
if you approve my editing.
What do you mean? Your editing's great.
Yeah, we're doing everything ourselves, so things are kind of rusty, but that's how we process things. It's how we learn. We're big
early
on that.
on. We're having to do a lot of this stuff ourselves, and Paige has done a fantastic job, I think, of the editing. Big shout out to Paige, our video editor. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been really cool watching you grow and get good at this. But for those of you that want to watch these episodes, they're going to be out there very soon. So hopefully this week, Thursday or Friday, maybe even Wednesday, it comes in line with the episode. Who knows? But it's going to be this week, I think.
Yeah.
Let's just commit to it and do it.
Right.
So we've been behind the scenes tinkering with this stuff, and I think we're going to release 2 or 3, right? How many do you have ready?
I have 2 ready, and then this would be the 3rd one that we have out.
Awesome. So
because we're not starting all the way from the beginning. That'd be too much.
It's a lot.
I tried, and I was like, I can't do that.
It's just too much. Okay, so if you haven't already, please check us out on social media. We are on Instagram at @tufo_couple. That's TWFO_couple. On Facebook at @tufocouple. We are on TikTok at @tufo_couple.
Good job.
And YouTube, I'm guessing that's Till the Wheels Fall Off, right?
I think it is. Yeah, it is.
Gosh, we should have had this ready.
No, it is. I'm not going to put it out there.
Stay
'cause
tuned
it's not
on our
right
social
there.
medias for more information on the YouTube channel. You'll be able to find tons of stuff out there. So yeah, we'll keep you current in our stories and our posts. We're always on top of that.
Yeah.
So until next time, I am Matt.
I'm Paige.
And we'll see you.
Bye.